it's Rich Ferrani with TMC here. I am at the VPF, the Voice Peering Forum. I've got Crick Waters with me, who is with Rivet. Crick, how are you?
I'm very well, thanks. It's great to be here.
Crick, quick question for you. For those viewers who may not be familiar with Rivet, tell us a little bit about your company.
Sure. So Rivet is a telephony platform company. If you were going to, we call ourselves Silicon Valley's first phone company, and it's tongue-in-cheek. Obviously, we're not the first phone company in Silicon Valley, but we're taking a Silicon Valley approach to telephony. So if you think about how Silicon Valley has approached the rapid development of web services and other things like that, think Google or Yahoo and these types of companies.
Sure.
They take a Maps application, and they don't just make Maps available. They make Maps available with a broad API. And what that does, it allows developers that are effectively beyond the horizon of a simple mapping application to be able to take that map and put it into an application that they understand and build value where it's not obvious to the originator of the map application. So telephony is very much like that. We've been doing dial tone for 100 years. Dial tone is pretty well understood. 4 years ago, when we were getting the company started, it became clear to us that there was enough dial tone in the world, but there wasn't a way of taking dial tone and treating it like a map application and saying, if I want to take messaging or communication and embed it into a high-value application that I might have very specific knowledge of, there's no way to do that today. So we took the Silicon Valley approach, that's what we call the Silicon Valley Phone Company, to build a process and procedure that allows a core telephony infrastructure to be addressable using an application programming interface. So the founders of the company are called bellheads, guys from core telco guys. But we were smart enough to understand that we needed to hire web heads. So we brought folks in that are very Web 2.0, people from Yahoo and Google and eBay and folks like that. And they really understand the development community, today's development community, which is really web-centric. So then we took a telephony infrastructure layer, and this is really geek talk, but it's a certified carrier-grade telco infrastructure, Lucent certified type stuff. And we built on top of that a set of features and then an API. But the API is written in Flash and Flex. So web developers, ordinary web developers, can now take telephony and build it right into an application. So Rivet is a platform company. We have a couple of applications that we put forward ourselves that use this API. We launched in May 8th last month, rivetforsalesforce.com. And that is an application that embeds telephony right into the app. There's a phone.
And that's your definition of the high-value application that you referenced earlier.
That's right. In that case, think about salesforce.com. Each user is paying somewhere between $80 and $130 per month per seat to have the CRM application. With the addition of Rivet for Salesforce, now the sales professional's mobile device is mapped into the workflow of the CRM. Their messages are there, they're converted into text, they can click to reply call, they can use the interface to answer calls. All their calls and activities are logged within the CRM workflow. So what we've done is we've taken what was Salesforce calls workforce automation, and we've made voice automation by taking the mobile professional's phone, number, communication, messaging, all into the workflow of CRM.
Right.
Now, we did this ourselves by hiring a third-party developer, which somebody who understood Salesforce.com. But they use the API to do this. So it's a reference to the broader marketplace on what the Rivet platform can do. In the last 7 months, we've over 4,500 developers have registered to build applications on the platform.
And are there any out right now that you can talk about, or is it early?
It's a little bit early. We have a couple of companies. WebAuthor is a small company. They've built a call center application to raise money for disabled American veterans. And so they have distributed callers all around the country. They've taken and embedded telephony right into the application. It's one-click dial, logs everything, takes care of it, runs on the Rivet network. There's a couple other companies like eMobileCat, global electronic catalogs with integrated telephony in it. There's actually a fairly good long list of companies.
So once I do this, then I pay per minute for the calls? How does that work?
Yeah, it depends. We do have a pricing model that is on a per minute basis for those companies that make sense. And what we do is then we amortize the entire cost of support the application program interface, security model, everything is just built into a flat permanent rate, domestic calling. We have other models where we would have a revenue sharing. So for example, if you were going to build an application that you're going to sell to your end users and the uptick in value, say maybe $50, we would negotiate with you and say, you'll take a portion, we'll take a portion, and everybody will make some money.
So it's a shared risk, basically.
In that case, it's a shared risk, right? But we're actually providing telco-grade services, so the risk that the application is successful is clearly in the hands of the developer.
Right.
There's not much risk in a phone call.
Right.
Then we have another model, and this is more a retail model. We plan to be providing a retail product in the marketplace. It's I call it personal fixed mobile convergence. Again, I'm the bellhead, so that's kind of a geeky thing to say. What it does is it makes your web world and your mobile world work together, and your telephony applications all come together. And that's the convergence part, that's the fixed to the mobile convergence part. And that's really designed for individual professionals, whether you work for IBM or a 5-person knowledge-based organization. There are lots of silos out there. Your mobile silo, your Centric silo, your Skype silo, all these different kinds of silos. And we can make all these things work together with a single voice messaging platform, voice-to-text interpretation, translation, call, find me, follow me. There's lots of features, you've heard of most of them, and we bring them all together. So that's an application that we'll be putting forward, and there's going to be a store. So like Salesforce has an app exchange, we have a Rivet store, and we have developers that are building extensions, if you will, of that product that will be available in that store. You may see if you go to YouTube and type in Air iPhone, there's a guy who's made this iPhone. It runs on the Rivet network, it runs on your desktop, it's really cool. There's some other chalkboard phones, and Samsung has done some phones. These can be all put into the store by the developer, priced by the developer, and the developer would retain 70% of the revenues generated by selling those applications. So think of it as almost a ringtone model, but it's really telephony applications.
It's very interesting. So we're probably going to see then more applications in the next few years. Is that your feeling?
Absolutely. This is just it's a trend that's going all over the globe. Major carriers are trying to figure out how to do this, and they're working very hard at figuring out how to build an API, or I guess that's the clear term, is an API or an SDK, if you will, that gives developers access to the telephony core network. If you think about telcos, we all talk about them not being innovators. Part of it is because they're running $50 billion organizations. They're focused on keeping the lights on in that organization, and it's really hard for them to reach beyond their visible horizon. When you create an API or an SDK, you can let somebody that's way beyond your visible horizon do something in the marketplace that you may not understand, and they can extract value that you can't reach. And that's really what Rivet's doing. So we have interconnect carrier agreements, we have the API, we reach out to developers that are beyond our visible horizon. And then they're going to build applications where they can extract value by integrating voice with the software that they have.
That's great. So if we look out a few years, what will your potential customers be in store for in terms of?
That's a great question. Again, I can't see that far, and I can't see we're on the horizon. I can tell you that there's some obvious applications, like the CRM space where we did for Salesforce. I would expect other things like Oracles and Siebels and Sugar CRMs and others to integrate voice into those workflows. There's a company called Rivet Enabled, believe it or not, that is building applications in healthcare verticals. There are companies that are building in horizontal applications, for example, supply chain management. So call it horizontal, but they can embed voice and triggers to set up messaging services and calls and callbacks, all using the API.
Oh, it's very exciting. So, thank you. We've been talking with Crick Waters, who is with Rivet. Crick, why don't you just tell us your title?
So I'm one of the 4 founders of the company, and I'm responsible for the strategy and business development side of activities. So my title is Executive Vice President of Strategy and Business Development.
My name is Rich Tarani, and I'm with TMC, President of TMC, and you can get information about me at tmcnet.com or tarani.com. Thank you very much for watching and being with us today, and thank you very much, Crick. This was great to see you.